Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. Today's video is all about HBAR and we're going to be using a couple of different charts that I think you may not have used in relation to HBAR, formulate calculations to get a price target and how I think HBAR is going to move on a macro view. So to start out with guys, I want to take you to a chart that I'm pretty sure many of you will not have seen before. Now this is the HBAR market cap chart divided by the total 2 excluding stable coin chart. Now that is a lot to say, but if you want to get this on your own trading view, just literally type in the crypto cap HBAR and the crypto cap total 2 ES and you will get this. Now this is very important because HBAR is a coin that has had a change in circulating supply. So if we take the crypto coin market cap of HBAR and divide it by the total 2 market cap excluding stable coins, we can try to remove all of the noise in the price chart and get a very clear picture of what is actually going on here. Now you will see from 2020 all the way to 2024 it took a long time for HBAR to have a nice breakout. Now that led to a really nice move on the USD chart, but it did not break the highs. However, on here it absolutely did. Now that tells a story. We are now back at one of the major key levels, or close to, because you can see the last time we had this structure where we had a big wick left to the downside right here in 2022. It just took a little bit of time for that wick to get taken before HBAR market cap divided by total 2 ES could get moving. Now that big move was around about a 400% move here on the crypto cap coin divided by total 2 ES, but in terms of USD it was around 800%. So we're starting to build a picture here now that if this chart is to pump around 400%, we can maybe expect about 1.75 to 2x that on the actual USD chart. Now what I think we're getting here is a potential dip into this wick, which will be about a negative 10% move. Now if we take a look at the total 2 excluding stables chart itself, that also comes in with a retest of this trend line of around 10%. So perhaps if we're expecting the total 2 excluding stables to outperform HBAR, we might actually be expecting somewhat of a 15% correction on the actual USD chart. Now if we take a look at where we are here on HBAR right now and we drop it down to the 1 weekly time frame, there we go, and we have a look at where 15% from this level to the downside would actually take us. Now that actually takes us all the way back down to the big bullish candle, which might not be what everyone wants to see right now, but in terms of market structure and dips into bullish candles, whenever we see a big bullish candle with a big wick to the downside on a higher time frame like that, that is a major opportunity. Now HBAR's provided a very nice move to the upside already. I think we might get another opportunity in and around the 0.69 level minimum. That is simply because I think the total 2 excluding stables coin chart is going to outperform HBAR for a little while. But then I think things are really going to start getting moving, because I think, as always with these charts, we always get left a little clue as to how high this chart can actually pump. Now in 2024 it was these few wicks here that led this trend line all the way to the upside, which actually gave the clue once that trend line to the downside had been deviated, we could then move to a nice parabolic move to the upside. And we've got the same movement here. We've got 3 wicks here and we've also got a couple of wicks here that we can use. So depending on the strength of HBAR against the total 2 excluding stables, we can potentially be expecting somewhat of a 130, or better case next year, around a 360% move. Now 130% would actually be around 260% on the USD chart from the lower level. So we'll take a look at where 260% takes us. And that takes us to around 24 cent, a very key level, and I will explain why as we zoom back out to the higher time frame in just a second. And bringing it back, we could also maybe expect a 350% move, which, like we saw earlier, we'd expect around double on the USD chart, which would be around 700% from that lower level. So we will also mark out the 700% from this key level. Now that takes us to around 54 cents. So we're going to get both of them levels marked out before we discuss in depth a little bit more on the total 2 excluding stables chart itself, and zoom back out onto the higher time frame HBAR USD chart. So we're going to stick with the monthly time frame here, guys, and you will see one thing about these moves is that the first one actually comes into one of our major higher time frame monthly bullish levels. Now this is a very key level in terms of market retracements. As you will see, I'll point out in a second, every single time we get them monthly candles left, it always seems to be those wicks of the next cycle that remain dormant in those levels. You see it here as well. As the market moved back up, the wicks to the upside come straight back into them monthly candle closes. Now the monthly candle closes in and around this level, the 20 to 25 cent region, have not been tested yet. Therefore I think the next HBAR move minimum will take us from around the 6 cent region into around the 20 cent region. A very nice opportunity for those willing to play the patient game. Now the next target on HBAR would be around 53 cent, as we said earlier, that potential 350% move against the total 2 excluding stables. That just so happens to potentially be around a 100% move on the total 2 chart. So if we're maybe expecting HBAR to outperform by 350%, then actually we can move one of these targets to just around $1 as well. So using all of these calculations on these charts that we've been using, now it's a bit of a mouthful to keep saying total 2 excluding stables, but I want to reiterate this is very, very important, using the HBAR market cap divided by the total 2 excluding stables. It's very, very important because it just takes out all of the noise. It takes out all of the noise of stables coming into the market, and it reduces the impact of the circulating supply changes in the coin itself. So taking a look at the total 2 excluding stables, you might say, well, where is this chart coming from? Now this is a chart that I posted in the Patreon about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And you can see it's pretty much precisely what we wanted to see. We are in this region now, and we're expecting that pullback. I said to my members, if you want a more confirmed entry, you'd be looking for that entry back at that trend line. And I said any sweep down here is a major, major buy, and the final chance to really enter the market, and the final chance to exit the late shorts entering the market. Now this chart has worked out very, very nicely. I think we maybe push on a little bit further like this and then come back down to around that 730 billion. So everything is actually aligning here for HBAR to maybe going for some kind of 10 to 15% correction back down to that bullish candle. Where we are in the month now makes me think that this month is not going to leave a big wick to the upside like that, and maybe next month we just get that wick to the downside like that, and potentially even better, a wick below the start of the bullish candle. Now if we did wick below the start of that bullish candle, let me get all of this off the screen, we could potentially be setting up next month an inverse head and shoulder setup on the actual higher monthly time frame, which would be, if you've been watching any of my videos, or you've watched any of my videos over the last 2 years, you will know this is my favourite setup. There's no better setup than this one to confirm a reversal. Now this would get me very, very bullish for that move to 20 cent, and at that point we can see how the waves develop moving up here to this bearish candle. And then we'll really start to decide, well, if this move is moving up in an impulsive way, we'll have a look at the waves in that wave, and then we'll get some precise targets to the upside and develop our exit strategies as time goes on. But at the moment, I think we've played a very, very patient game with HBAR, and I also think we're in for a reward in the next 2 months. We've had a nice move off of the low, but I think HBAR might give us that one extra chance to enter on this potential free wick formation on the higher monthly time frame for us to move on up to 20 cent. So If you appreciate the content, guys, give the video a like. If you want to join the Patreon for more stuff like this and early access to the content that I'm releasing on there, please go ahead and do so. I'll leave the link in the description below. As always, I appreciate every single viewer, every like, every comment. Whether it be good or bad, whether you agree or you don't, we're presenting the case here, guys, for HBAR to return to at least 20 cent, which is a massive opportunity from that entry zone in around 6 cent, around a 200% move. That's 3x the investment. Not a bad return at all in the potential next 2 or 3 months. So of course, guys, it's not financial advice. I just wanted to present the data that I see here in HBAR, a very fundamentally sound coin in the cryptocurrency market. So sit back, relax, let the market do the work. Let me know what you think of this type of analysis and whether I should be posting more. Take it easy, and I will see you next time.